All right, well, it's time now to answer your legal questions. You can call us now at 256-536-0077. And Heath, with our friends at Timberlake, League and Brooks, now joining us this morning. Let's talk a little bit about dog bite cases.
Yeah, this is a thing that we see pretty often. And the law in Alabama is kind of all over the place in some regards. First thing you got to know as a dog owner is that if your dog has bitten somebody or has attempted to attack someone, you can be responsible if your dog bites someone else, once you already know. But Alabama follows the one bite rule, kind of get out of jail free card for dog bites, where if you don't know whether your dog has a dangerous propensity, and that's the legal fancy term, dangerous propensity. If you don't know that your dog is dangerous, then oftentimes you get out of jail free the first time.
Okay.
But it's after that becomes the problem. And there's some other nuances there as well.
Is it like a documented case of the dog being dangerous?
Not necessarily, but that helps a plaintiff.
Okay.
So if you do have if you have been bitten by that particular dog, then documenting is always a good thing. But for instance, I was involved in a case one time where the dog owner actually had bitten the owner's finger off. The dog had bitten his owner's finger off, and then he attacked my client. Sometime later. Well, his hospital bills were there. So we could say, hey, look, you knew this dog was dangerous to begin with. So.
Do different counties and cities have different ordinances in effect regarding dog bites or dangerous dogs?
Yes, they can. So oftentimes when you're dealing with dog bites, there's a couple of different exceptions to the state rule. The first exception is if you are a dog owner and the dog is on your property, then that's when the one bite rule applies. So if you have somebody that comes onto your property, your dog attacks, it's the first time ever that your dog is attacked, then it's a one bite rule. If somebody comes on your property again and your dog bites another individual, then that one bite rule goes away. The dog is on your property. You can be responsible for potentially lost wages and medical bills, and in some cases, some additional damages. If the dog is running around outside off of your property and it attacks someone, the one bite rule doesn't apply anymore because you have a responsibility to keep your dog in its yard or confined. So if you have a dog that wanders up to a neighbor's property and attacks that neighbor, the one bite rule doesn't necessarily apply anymore. And if you are a city like Huntsville who has a leash law, you're required to keep your dog under restraint. So if you violate the leash law in Huntsville, that can lead to some negligence damages.
Do we see a lot of these dog bite cases?
I do. I sure do. Yeah, we want to think, because I'm a big dog lover. All of the folks at Timberlake League and Brewer, we're big dog lovers. We have our own dog mascot. So Ruby is Michael's dog. We love dogs, but we also understand, because we've seen it in our business, that sometimes dogs can be very aggressive. And we see it in the community a lot, where you love your dog. If your dog bites someone, then you need to take special care to make sure that doesn't happen again. But unfortunately, that does happen. And the worst cases, of course, are dealing with children. Because if you're 2 or 3 years old, or even 5 or 6, you don't have a chance against a large, vicious dog. You just don't.
So once you've got the first instance, if you get to a second instance, what happens? Does the dog get taken by animal care and control? Where do you go from there?
Whenever a dog bites another individual, that individual or the parents have a right to have the dog tested for rabies, and oftentimes the dog will be tested for rabies.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that the dog is going to be your dog's going to be euthanized after a first bite. If it happens again, sometimes the dog becomes so dangerous that the officials will euthanize a dog.
Okay, so they'll get involved in cases like that.
Sometimes in that kind of scenario. And you can have some criminal responsibility as well if your dog is running wild and has dangerous propensities and ends up attacking someone.
Are there different laws for dog bites involving children versus adults?
No.
Okay, it's all the same.
No, it's not really. And so when you get into dog bites, though, a lot of the claims that you have in that kind of scenario are a lot of the same that you would have if it was involved in another injury case. Like you got medical bills that start mounting. Maybe you have scars and permanent injury that we've seen, lost wages, pain and suffering. Those kinds of things go into a dog bite case.
I All right. Well, if you didn't get your question answered, remember, you can always call our friends over at Timberlake, League and Brooks, and you have the blog as well, correct?
Yes, good information on the blogs about dog bites. Check it out. It can help out a lot.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on. I learned a lot, actually, listening
you.
to this. We'll be right back.